All right, so our first speaker is Benjamin Zysberg from Total Immersion, and he's been using a computer since he was 4. He learned to program because he wanted to create his own video games. He's worked as a seismological researcher, and in 2010 he moved to Los Angeles office of Total Immersion and was promoted to lead engineer. His job consists of providing technical assistance to the creative strategies, managing resources, assessing new technologies, training their partners, and developing prototypes. So without further ado, here is Benjamin.
Thank you, Patrick. So yesterday, I showed you how to create an AR experience with our SDK called Diffusion. Now I'm going to show you how you can embed it into our mobile SDK. So the approach we choose to go mobile is to separate what we call the AR scenario, which is what you get out from Diffusion Studio, to the native code. So basically, when you create an Android or an iOS application, you are embedded a library with an API that's going to call the AR scenario. That means you can have the same AR scenario for both iOS and Android. That also means that AR for your applications is just a part of your applications. You don't have to do only AR. For example, if you have a game, you can have the interaction between the rest of the application and the AR component. Let's say you build a high score. This score can be then tweeted, Facebooked, posted everywhere. When you have a game that's using face tracking, you can take pictures of yourself and then also share them and everything. One thing that allows us also is to very easily test the AR components without any need of precompiling. I'm going to open Diffusion Studio. So I'm going to open just like a sample project that doesn't do much except face tracking. So as you can see, maybe it's a little blurry, but I have a 3D mask on my face. Simple. Now what I'm going to do is export this scenario and use it on mobile. What I need to select the file I want to use on mobile, select an app ID, select a folder to export, and then export. That gives me a package. Well, I'm going to zip it. And since I have an iPad plugged, I can open iTunes. And using our SDK, we have created an application called the Test Player that allows you to test any AR scenario created with Diffusion without precompiling. And it's not plugged. iPad is not being recognized. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to open the app and the sandbox of the test player. and literally drag and drop my AR scenario just created onto the iPad. That's saved. And now I'm going to switch to the iPad. My zip file is here. And directly, without any compiling, I can test the same AR scenario I have on PC. And I can do the same on Android. Now, I want to showcase a few of the capabilities our mobile SDK can do. They're about the same as our PC SDK, so I want to show the different kind of tracking we can do. You already saw the face tracking components. But on top of that, since we are not only an AR provider, we also provide cloud solutions in order to download content on the fly. So in these applications, these applications, when the user downloads it, it just gets the AR components. All the glasses are downloaded from the cloud. Then you can select, browse. And here, the AR component is a live video capture, and all the UI, everything is done in iOS. You can take a picture. Can keep this photo, and then I can just share it on, yeah, but I don't have internet connection on this one. We have developed also very strong markerless tracking. On these applications, not only, since we knew we were going to use an iPad 4, it was for a convention for the Detroit Auto Show. We knew we were going to use the iPad 4, so we were able to push the capabilities of the device to the maximum, pushing all the parameters for both the tracking and the renderings to the max. So this car, that's 400,000 polygons. I can play with it. Well, it's to reveal the new Avalon. Not the funny car, but and my tapping is not working. Okay, I was supposed to break in pieces, but anyway. Another kind of things you can do with diffusion is to do marker tracking. We need to put that. Marker tracking is where you want to track from very far. For example, for a furniture application. This is live on the App Store. So you can place your furniture, move them, change the color and everything. Same principle. What you see as a live video feed is diffusion, and all the UI is iOS. Another one, I can play with it. I can take a picture, same thing, share, shop, and everything. Last one I want to show was an app we did last year for TikTok that was combining about everything. We were able to do 3D tracking on, well, a TikTok box. we go. Now we have a game on a tic-tac box. And I can hit the tic-tac and it will still track. This was a massive campaign for Merck's partner. And same thing. We have about 10 to 15 diffusion scenarios inside the application that you can switch. So we have games, we have tips. For example, if you go to a bar and you find one of these coasters, you can recognize it. It's going to launch the proper AR scenario, which is in that case a beaver doing some pickup lines. Oh, cool. Okay, so I have 1 minute, so if you have any questions, go for it.
Why don't you sit here for questions?
Okay.
Hello? Okay.
So yeah, if you guys have any questions, of course, feel free, don't be shy. If you're sitting in the middle aisle or it's hard to get out, then I just ask that the speakers repeat the question, so that way we can make sure that we catch it on audio. Any questions? Then I'll ask one. What do you find is the polygon count limit for diffusion?
Well, it depends on the device. Like I said, the iPad 4, we could push to almost 500,000 polygons with shaders and everything. That's the number of polygons you have a car in a Gran Turismo game, for example. If you target something a little older than, let's say, a Motorola Droid, it's about 50,000. You mean at the same time or total? If it's marker, basically about as 10 at the same time. So marker, when I call marker, it's this ugly black and white things. If it's markerless, it depends on the device. With an iPad 4, it's about 3 at the same time.
Separate from NFT, do you have any SLAM implementation?
Not yet.
Okay, one last question.
And then repeat the question in the mic if you can.
Oh, it was asking if we have any SLAM implementation.
One last question.
What's your most robust tracking? Is it face tracking, the markerless marker?
It is a markerless tracking. And we do that in 2D and in 3D objects, complex objects, not only cubes.
Great. Thank you very much, Ben.